do this. What are you looking at me like that for?
The terror starts the moment he stops. The Hitcher.
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
Hello.
This week, we'll be doing the horror classic, The Hitcher, starring Rutger Hauer. I've just butchered his name.
That's all you need.
Rutger Hauer, C. Thomas Howell in his most triumphant role, and Jennifer Jason Leigh. It's an all-star cast.
She always looks the same. I feel like if I just Google Jennifer Jason Leigh, she would still look the same.
She looks exactly the same. She has not aged in 40 years.
There's witchcraft there. A little Anton LaVey, I don't know.
And I'm not ashamed to admit, Hitcher is one of my favorites.
It's a classicon. It's been a long time.
You haven't seen it lately?
I haven't seen it in a long time. And not to be confused with the series, The Hitcher. What is it?
The HBO anthology series was called The Hitchhiker.
Hitchhiker.
Unrelated, where a hobo, a vagrant, walks along the side of the road and then regales us with stories of the macabre. Is that what we're supposed to think?
Isn't that what this movie is all about?
No. Very sad. Now, I will say this about The Hitcher. It's, even though I think it's a classic and many would agree, it is not readily available on streaming up until recently. Like, it just recently popped up on HBO Max. Prior to that, it was like you had to know somebody.
Which is weird because it's still pretty solid. It's still pretty solid. And Rutger is still beautiful. Beautiful. Even though he has the eyes of a shark in this.
I mean, this is the peak of his powers. I mean, around this time, you've got, of course, the immortal Blade Runner. You've got Lady Hawk is about this time.
Oh, my God. You know, I guess that's fantasy. We can't do that. He was so beautiful, Lady Hawk. And then after this, we have Blind Fury.
And don't forget Wanted, Dead or Alive, where he plays the bounty hunter chasing down the terrorist Gene Simmons from Kiss.
Holy shit. I've never even heard of that.
That is the best. You have to go watch Wanted, Dead or Alive if you have not seen it.
Does that fit in our definition of horror? Is that more action-y?
It is absolutely action. It is action. Well, okay, we have to talk about it since we've opened this jar here. So he's Nick Randall.
Wait a minute. Where's my 30-second review? Quit trying to steal my glory.
I'm still talking about Wanted, Dead or Alive.
Holy shit. Okay, I'm buckled up. Go for it.
So
Tell
Nick
me all
Randall
about it.
He's a bounty hunter, and it's actually, the movie is considered like a sequel of the old 1950s Steve McQueen Western Wanted, Dead or Alive. He's the ancestor of Steve McQueen in this movie. And he's on the run because there's a terrorist, Gene Simmons, as you might imagine.
Is this young Gene Simmons? Is this Cher Gene Simmons? Or is it like current Gene Simmons, where he's like someone's grandfather with the hair in the can?
No, this is mid-'80s Gene Simmons. So this is good. Right. This is good times Gene Simmons.
All right.
Nick Randall's boss, or former boss at the FBI, is played by none other than Robert Guillaume from Benson.
Oh, man.
Anyway, if that doesn't pique your curiosity enough, I don't know what else I could say.
I am sitting up straight. I was like,
So check it out. Aaron, give us your 30-second synopsis of The Hitcher.
Don't pick up hitchhikers. Child C. Thomas Howell, who looks like he's a teenager, is falling asleep. It's raining, picks up a hitchhiker, I guess, to keep you awake. And there's no doubt, the minute he gets into the car, you understand that this guy is a whack-a-do, like from the minute. And basically, there is no escape. You think he's escaped? No. Now, Rutger Hauer has his eyes on C. Thomas Howell, and he just keeps popping up. He rescues him just so at times, just to dig him in deeper. literally, you don't know. I mean, Rutger Hauer is literally a shark in this. He is just it's just a killing spree. There's no emotion. There's no rhyme. There's no reason. Most of the killings take place off camera, which is good because there's like families with children. But you don't know why. You don't even know if this dude is alien, supernatural. He is everywhere, and he's gonna up C. Thomas Howell. Like, literally, he's gonna show up because it seems like he just wants C. Thomas Howell to kill him. He's looking for someone to kill him. And he's decided it's going to be C. Thomas Howell. But let me tell you, not an easy job. Not an easy job. It would even if he had Gene Simmons working with him, it would not be an easy job. At the end, C. Thomas Howell survives. Or does he? I mean, I'm going to wait for the autopsy. I want to make sure that his head is buried in California and limbs are sent back to Amsterdam or wherever the hell.
Pretty much.
It's a white knuckler.
It's a white knuckler. Now, did you see this in the theater, or do you remember when you first saw it?
I'm sure this is a blockbuster. Rent a Friday night, rent 3 horror movies, and drink some King Cobra.
Drink some, as we do, as we always
by the
do.
Cobra. Nothing like a tall boy of malt liquor.
Sweet Jesus. I'm trying to think. I obviously did not see this in the theater. I was far too young and impressionable, but I definitely think it was one of those. I'm having a sleepover at a friend's house. You know, what's on the movie channel? Hey, it's Rutger Hauer and C. Thomas Howell. What could go wrong? Dynamite. Dynamite. I remember, let's just jump right in. I remember seeing that scene. It's still like, I remember viscerally the scene where Rutger Hauer is sitting in the car next to C. Thomas Howell, and he's got the switchblade like right next to his eye.
Oh,
talking about, do you have any idea how much blood juts out of your eyeball when it's punctured, or when your throat is? I mean, I remember going, oh damn! Like immediately, you're sitting up straight. You're like, oh my god! Like the tension is just overwhelming.
There's literally never a doubt in your mind that Rutger Hauer is like a psychopath. Like when you think of someone who's insane, this is not plotting and stuff. This is like the wild beast. This is what this is. Unpredictable wild beast.
No question. One thing I have to say off the top, he's driving from Chicago to San Diego, and I guess this is a thing where it's like a wealthy person will just fly, but they want their fancy Cadillac to magically arrive wherever they're at. So they'll pay some college kid, I guess, to drive it across country for them, essentially.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Isn't that the deal with California with a K? Or maybe no, they were like offering rides to people for money.
Something along those lines. But so I went on to MapQuest, I went on to Waze, and I'm like...
Oh, this is historic Route 66. They threw all this in, too.
But here's my problem. You don't need to go through Texas to go from Chicago to San Diego. The straight shot, like literally you'd have to drive south and then... drive down from Chicago to like New Orleans or something. And then from there, drive through Texas. You would go right through like the Great Plains and miss Texas entirely.
Yeah, I'm not sure why we're ever in Texas.
You would never have to be in Texas, is all I'm saying. Good grief.
And it doesn't matter that you're in Texas for any part of the story either.
Well, I wonder if it's a case of they needed long kind of deserty desolation. Because I'll tell you what, I have driven across Texas from Long Beach to New Orleans.
Oh,
and when you're not in the major cities, it's basically post-apocalyptic. It's like there may not have been any life here for hundreds of miles. Just desert. Just desert. So I wonder if that is part of it.
Because you know where at one point when he gets on the bus, there's that famous sign that says Roy's. That's out here in the desert. I've been there. It's all desert out there. This is the Mojave Desert. So
Yes.
you would have already been in the desert. In fact, I have an interesting story about that. So
Oh, damn.
right beyond the road, I met this park ranger. So she told us the story. Now, up ahead here, the road is closed, but you can drive around it. But be careful, because at sunset, many people have seen a child who runs out into the middle of the road. I was like, damn, we're going out there. So we drove up and down the road. They didn't see any children running out. I was like, oh.
You didn't see the little girl from Con Air running out into the street over and over again?
And freezing and just staring. Oh, I didn't see Stephen Buscemi either. So I was disappointed.
Terrifying.
But I love the ranger going, okay, now the road is blocked, but there's room to drive around.
Avoid the barricade and just drive on the shoulder. You should be fine.
By the way, that Roy's place has been bought by hipsters that are revitalizing all the cabins because, Route 66 is a thing again.
Well, it's a thing. Well, this whole movie takes place in Texas. And we know this because every police, they're all state troopers. They're all Texas Rangers. They all have cowboy hats when they pull you over. And Jennifer Jason Leigh is also sporting a crazy Texas accent. So it's Texas. Or it could be Raising Arizona. Who knows?
Yeah, she always has some crazy accent.
She's like Meryl Streep.
Why would they use the iconic Roy's, which is in California, and say it's Texas?
This is a good question. We don't know the answer to this.
Never mind.
Now, another reason why we know this is straight 80s goodness is how prominent cigarettes are in this. Everybody smokes like a chimney, constantly. C. Thomas is constantly...
I smoked in the 80s, too. Good time.
It was a thing to do.
You got a Marlboro Light there, bro? Thanks.
Filterless.
Filterless. What is
Marlboro Red?
Ball. A lucky strike.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's when you get the voice like Brenda Vaccaro.
Like Louise Jefferson is what it is, where her voice is 2 octaves deeper than George. That's how we do. It's a thing. It is a thing where it's just, I'm smoking. Again, keeping in mind, he's driving this car from Chicago to San Diego, thousands of miles, just puffing the whole way. That car must smell lovely. I hope the car owner is also a smoker. Otherwise, there may be problems.
I don't think that dude's getting his car back, I think is what it comes down to.
Yeah, well, this is an issue because halfway through the movie, the car kind of gets sideswiped and the back bumper gets just torn off. Just ripped right off. I mean, I figure at some point you call the owner. I don't know. Hey, I'm having some trouble here with your brand spanking new caddy.
I see Rutger Hauer going one direction. I'm going the other direction.
Oh, yes. I agree with you. No question. So Rutger, he pulls over in a storm because he's falling asleep. He's about to go into a ravine or something. And he's like, okay, I got to have this dude, this homeless drifter, climb into the car with me. This was a thing people did back in the day. In the 70s, there was literally a song about hitchhiking. Do you remember this one?
Hitching ride, hitching ride. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
It was a thing that people did, not a big deal, evidently, until they realized, oh, that's a good way to get abducted. One way or another, you're probably going to be killed. Either picking up a hitchhiker or being a hitchhiker. Not a good situation.
And it works for both sexes because you got Eileen Wuornos killing all the dudes in Florida. And then you got like Green River Killer killing all the prostitutes up north. Whoop, whoop.
Don't do it.
Unsafe either sex.
Either sex, either situation, just don't do it. So he very quickly determines like, oh, this dude is crazy. Because it's a lot of, so where are you headed? No response. Hey, where are you from? No response. Like a lot of those kind of creepy, oh, you need gas? Sure, drive 5 feet. Well, let's get gas at the gas station. I don't need gas. What? At that point,
can we get cigarettes at the gas station? I don't smoke.
There was there were bad situations. When he finally pounces on him and puts like the blade to his face, he's very much like, I want you to stop me. Stop me from stabbing you. And earlier, I guess Rutger Hauer left the door ajar. So it's just like flapping in the wind. Is that what's happening?
Let me tell you, I used to have an old car. I used to have like this 67 car. And I will have a door ajar light if it wasn't, they're such made out of steel cars, not like fiberglass or whatever the hell they make them out now. So even though it's not closed all the way, it's still partially locked. It just doesn't fly open.
That's
Little
exactly
known
right.
fact. Little known fact.
Well, I mean, that's true for today.
It works out for C. Thomas. Bless his little heart.
We have to ask how that occurs, because C. Thomas is weighing 90 pounds soaking wet, and there's big... Here's another thing. Rutger Hauer is constantly dripping. Is it condensation? Later in the movie, still is it sweat? He's
like
just
dripping off the end of his nose.
A lot of dripping, as far as Rutger Hauer is concerned. C. Thomas is able to push him while driving the car, kind of give him like a forearm shiver, kind of a hip check, and Rutger Hauer flies out the door. And I'm like, is this physically possible? I'm not sure how this works.
Cars. Hello, people. Back in the old days, the front seat didn't have two seats. It had like a long bench, like a couch.
Yes.
So it's going to take a lot of effort. You're literally pushing someone who's sitting next to you off like a 3-cushion couch.
And it's a Cadillac, so it's as wide as a house.
And it has to be hard enough to open the door and hit him spinning out. So I don't know what kind of hip check C. Thomas is doing.
Right.
And I can't keep calling him C. Thomas, so we're going to call him C.
No. CT? Yeah, Ray Lewis couldn't pounce this guy out of the door. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's all ridiculous, but it works out for C. Thomas. I'm still calling him C. Thomas, clearly. Works out for him. All's good. And in no time is he like, whew, made it. Now I need to go to the cops because I know there's a serial killer on the loose. He's just driving, having a good old time.
This is bad, all bad. And I have to say, when they shoot back to old Rutger Hauer, he seems impressed with our little C. Thomas.
Well, it's like you said, he wants somebody to stop him. It's like he's doing this. Yes, I will stab you if you try to stop me, but I want you to try and succeed nonetheless. And frankly, he's the only one who's lived to tell the tale over the course of this movie. Everybody else who meets Rutger Hauer is stone dead. Dead meat, Pilgrim.
And thankfully, it's all off camera, because you can't even imagine how Rutger Hauer just rolls in, kills an entire family, followed by killing everyone in a police station. It's all fully armed. That's why he's like supernatural, I think.
I wrote that down. He is supernatural because no one else is able to stop him. He always knows where C. Thomas is.
Yes.
Always.
He's tracking him.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do. But he's kind of messing with him, like you said. He's just kind of messing with C. Thomas. He'll pop up, hey, how's it going? And then disappear again. He's there. There's no escape from John Ryder is the character's name. We think could be a lie, right? Lucifer could be his name. We don't know.
Louis Cypher. I didn't notice any peeling of the eggs.
That's right, with the long fingernails. Louis Cypher.
I will say that, okay, so at one point, C. Thomas is cruising around so proud of himself. And here comes a station wagon and a boat. And in the back seat with the kids comes Rutger Hauer. He's peeking at C. Thomas behind a teddy bear.
Yep. That's right. Well, that's when, C. Thomas pulls up, honks the horn. Hey, he's a killer. It almost gets into a head-on collision with the bus, which tears the bumper off the brand new Cadillac. Very sad situation.
Do you think they stole Christmas Vacation scene with the you're on the wrong side of the road?
That is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, by
Oh!
the way. You're going the wrong way.
What? Huh? It was exactly the same scene. I'm quite sure they stole it from the Hitcher. Although
no question.
No one's heads were sawed off in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
You're right when you say that they don't show anything, but you know it's a grisly sight because later when C. Thomas finds the station wagon by the side of the road, he peeks in and is puking his guts out. Puking his
Blood
guts out.
is dripping out through the floor of the car.
It's basically just a blood boat. It's just overflowing. The sheer, metric tons of blood just flowing over. He is so horrified. He's throwing up like Rod Steiger in Amityville Horror. Ah! Ah! So that's bad.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Just because this stuff is off camera does not mean this is not disturbing.
Right. Well, it's kind of that old-fashioned black and white horror where they don't show you anything, but just the idea of it is upsetting enough.
100%.
Frankly.
Let your mind fill in the blanks. I mean, there's enough that is shown.
Yes, there is.
Don't get me wrong. This isn't for the kiddies.
Well, that's the thing. So later he pulls over to the truck stop or whatever, and then he meets kindly Jennifer Jason Leigh, who lets him in. Go ahead.
He's finally going to call the cops. Finally.
How many lives could have been saved if he would have just driven directly to the police station? But it's neither here nor there. He calls the cops, tells them what's happening. They'll be right there. Jennifer Jason Leigh makes him a burger and fries. Eating the fries. And what does he discover in the fries?
A finger.
A crazy old finger. But here's my question. Whose frickin' finger is it?
Yep. Now, I do have an issue with this scene. Because literally, Jennifer Jason Leigh served this to him.
Well, she put it under the heat lamp after she was she made it, threw it on the heat lamp. He was still doing the hobo wash in the bathroom, getting himself all clean.
She was carrying it. A full finger on top of some fries. Come on, people.
Right. So he's sitting there, and I wrote this. I had a problem with this as well, because it seems like he was picking up those big steak fries, taking one bite out of the steak fry and then putting it down and picking up another.
French fries like that. I've never seen a man, maybe a delicate lady, I don't know, but I've never seen a man nibble it like a rabbit nibbles a carrot. Come, especially after all the trauma that's been going on. He's been on the road for days. He would have been woofing that business down.
It's true. He probably would just eating the finger.
He didn't even touch the burger. Yeah.
And that offended me as well. That was a good looking burger. Untouched. Untouched. I would stay, finger or not, I'm eating that burger, is what I'm saying.
I found it all unappealing because I don't like those big, giant, floppity fries, those steak fries.
I don't either. No. I'm not a big steak fry guy. I got to tell you.
Neg.
Is this now? I think this is true. Best fries, best fast food fries ever, McDonald's.
As far as fast food, I 100% agree with you. Best burger, In-N-Out. Best fries, McDonald's. So hopefully you can find a McDonald's right next to In-N-Out Burger.
That's what we call nirvana. Where you've
but
reached
I
the
will
highest
tell
level.
you, that some of these local bullshit chains, Frosty King or whatever, they make a fine fry.
There are some good. I mean, I have to say, since we're going down this rabbit hole, I'm
a little hungry now. I ate just broccoli, so now I want some French fries.
People don't like In-N-Out fries.
No,
I kind of like them. They're not as good as McDonald's. McDonald's are on a whole nother level, but I kind of like that it is kind of a fresh fry. You know what I mean? It's actually made from potatoes, not some frozen thing.
I understand. Well, it is the two ends of the spectrum.
It is.
Because McDonald's is a Franken-fry. It's not even vegetarian. They add meat flavoring to it.
Oh, that's why I love
it has meat squeezing, right? And it used to be fried in lard. So, but here's the situation. I like a crispy on the outside fry, fluffy on the inside fry, and that is not In-N-Out. It doesn't taste like a double fry. You need to have a double fry.
I agree. You don't want a soggy fry.
No.
Don't want a soggy fry.
No.
And you're right. And that's why steak fries are often, like a good steak fry is good as long as it's crispy. Like we're talking about, we're going to talk about this for 20 minutes. Yeah. As long as the outside's crispy, then I'm okay with it. But oftentimes, I dare say, usually the steak fries are just a little too soggy.
I mean, honestly, I 100%. Now, if you're stuck with it, as long as it's hot, then's the time to pour the malt vinegar on it.
That's
That'll
dynamite. Little salt
that'll
and malt
revive it.
vinegar.
And now, recently, I've come across to the mayonnaise on French fry situation.
I've done that from time to time when I try
If
to
it's
mix it
good
up.
mayonnaise, if it's good mayonnaise, like there's some vinegary mayonnaises.
People across the pond will appreciate our recommendations. Americans have already turned us off. They're like, we're out. We're out. I mean, you're not putting mayonnaise on
Some
my fries.
Americans must like it because every grocery store has salt and vinegar chips. So
That's
it's
true.
just the next level. It's
just the next level. Why don't we get back to the thing here? Oh God. So the cops pull up to the truck stop and for some reason they think he's the killer, even though he called them. My question is Rucker Hauer dropping the dime on him, saying, oh, the killer's there? Or why were they immediately like, we're going to shoot you? They're about to shoot him. What do you think the issue is?
That is a good question. So it must be that maybe someone drove by and saw him. He was running around touching fingerprints all over every murdery situation. Yes. So it's certainly possible, like it's at My Cousin Vinny, where they were the last people there.
I'm convinced.
Boom.
Innocent of all charges. There's a scene when the cops arrest him where they're like throwing him down on the hood of the car, where if you're watching, see how his foot goes flying up in the back and whacks the dude in the head.
I saw that. I was like, oh shit. Is this a method? This is what we call the method acting way, where they just beat the shit out of a guy who looks like he's about 120.
It's true. The only way that happens is if they're really throwing him on the hood of that car.
That's right. Maybe he was a prick during rehearsal. No one looked directly at me.
Don't you know I was in Soul Man?
Don't you know who I am?
And I'm going to say Soul Man is still pretty goddamn funny. If you haven't seen Soul...
I couldn't even think of what C. Thomas Howell was in. Was he in The Outsiders?
He was Pony Boy. Oh. He was Pony Boy in The Outsiders. That was kind of his first big thing.
Brace yourself. I've never seen The Outsiders.
I do need to brace myself because it is a fine film. You got C. Thomas, you got Rob Lowe, you got Matt Dillon, you got Tom Cruise, Emilio Estevez, the immortal Patrick Swayze, Leif Garrett, Ralph Macchio.
What? Leif Garrett's in it?
Diane Lane, directed by Francis Ford Coppola. Need I say more?
All right.
I don't think I need to.
All right.
Based on the novel by S.E. Hinton. Thank you.
Now, I am aware of that. I did see Rumblefish, also based on S.E. Hinton.
If it wasn't for S.E. Hinton, Matt Dillon would have never had a career. Let me just put that out there. Every single one is a Matt Dillon. Tex, another S.E. Hinton starring Matt Dillon. He was just knocking them out. Every single one. Was he in
Something
That Was
About
Then?
Mary? Was that also an S.E. Hinton?
that was the Outsider verse. The extended, yes, absolutely. So they arrest him, and of course, they act like they think he's guilty, but the moment they lock him up, he's like, any fool could see that boy is no killer. But then Rucker Hauer murders everybody in the police station. Boom, boom, boom.
They lock him up in his cell, and he's finally starting to relax. But then now he's somehow developed some kind of psychic connection with the killer. So he wakes up from a terrible dream and finds that his cell is open. And as he walks out, so it's really, he's now been set up again for murdering like every sheriff in this podunk town.
I kept thinking to myself, I think I'm just going to close this cell and lay back down on the bunk. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Hell yeah. Because then it's like, wasn't me. I was locked in here the whole time. Instead, he gets up, runs out, takes a gun from one of the corpses and runs out into the... These are... That's not the right move.
In my opinion. He is not a mastermind, that's for sure.
And then he gets a couple more state troopers pull up. He holds them at gunpoint. I mean, then he's like...
Takes them hostage.
Yes. takes him hostage on his own. Again, just because he's afraid. I'm afraid. And of course, those cops get murdered by Rutger Hauer while he's in his custody. So another case of bad move. See, Thomas, what were you thinking?
I love that he gets in the back of the police car, the windows roll down, and the doors open and close. So it's much more relaxed in these smaller towns.
Well, and usually there's kind of like a steel mesh that separates the perps from the guys driving the car, because otherwise they would just strangle you while you're driving or something.
100%.
Not
the
in
old
this car.
ice pick to the back of the head.
That's right. Not in this car. He's able to jump up and grab it, and it's good Lord.
Just some good old boys, never meaning no harm.
Beat all you never saw, been in trouble with the law since the day he was born. There you go.
And then Boss Hogg rolls up.
That's right. So now every cop he meets is like, oh, you've murdered 5 of my buddies. So now I'm going to murder you. I am now going to kill you. They're like sending like 15 cars after them. They got the police helicopter with the guy with the M16 shooting out like it's the fall of Saigon. I mean, it's serious business. At that point, it's over with. He's pretty much screwed.
You spit on my wrist. Wipe it off. Wipe it off.
Again, in full view of an entire busload of people. He was just going to gun down C. Thomas, this disgruntled trooper. It's like...
It's the 80s. It was just understood that police will kill you back in the 80s.
Well, what's interesting is when the cops are chasing them, they're all shooting shotguns out the window at C. Thomas and Jennifer Jason Leigh, who's now with him. If you shoot out somebody else's tire, that car goes flying, but your car will also go flying for some reason. Just don't do it. It's dangerous. It's mutually assured destruction is what I'm trying to say.
God forbid I should get a flat tire while I'm driving. Apparently my car will fly in the air, roll 3 times, and we'll all be dead.
You will be, dead meat. Let's just say it. Roadkill is what we call it in the biz. I wrote that down. Both cars crash? There are questions. It's like there's that when he's at Roy's diner where Rutger Hauer knew that the guy's gun was empty. The gun that he took from the trooper, he had it. He was going to shoot Rutger Hauer, and he's like, "You didn't ever check to see if it was loaded, did you? It's empty." It's like, is this that supernatural thing going on there where he just knows things?
Or was he manipulates every situation?
Right.
Or did he just leave the gun there on purpose? Did he take the bullets from all the guns?
These are important questions. Who's to say?
Because then later on, C takes about 40 minutes trying to figure out how to even put the bullets in. So quite frankly, the thing could have had the safety on the whole time.
Yes. He's not Clint Eastwood. Okay.
And this is a massive gun. This would have broken his wrist under the table. And quite frankly, why wouldn't you just pull the trigger the minute the madman sat across from you?
Absolutely.
You're going to have a discussion about it?
It would have broken his wrist, and he would have hit himself in the balls with the gun. It would have been bad. It would have been bad all around. Okay. But again,
this
Rutger
Hauer,
like
a Dirty Harry. This looked like a Dirty Harry gun. What was it? A
44 Magnum.
Yeah.
The most powerful handgun in the world.
You got to ask yourself, do you feel lucky? Well,
go ahead. Make my day. There you go. He didn't say any of those things. Very sad. But again, Rutger could have killed him at this moment just with his bare hands, I guess, at this stage of the game. But he doesn't. He's doing stuff. When Jennifer Jason Leigh and C. Thomas steal the police car, the camera pulls back, and there's Rutger Hauer watching everything. Just watching. He crazy. He's a crazy ghost or something.
He's a crazy supernatural ghost monster. Yes.
He is.
Killing spree.
On a killing spree.
He's worse than crazy Brad Pitt in California.
Absolutely.
He is the shark from Jaws. That's what he is.
He's got those crazy shark eyes. Oh. He's terrifying in this.
He is.
Rutger Hauer is terrifying. Later in the movie, C. Thomas is in the hotel, motel, Holiday Inn with Jennifer Jason Leigh. Nothing happens. I kept thinking they were going to have like a romantic interlude or something. Nope, nothing. She was just a nice person who gave up her freedom
And
to
quite
help him.
frankly, I except for saving his life from the bad cops, I'm not sure she needed to be in this at all. At all. What was the purpose?
I think you need to have somebody who believes you.
All
I
right.
think I'm thinking
All right.
that's what it is. A sympathetic
good
ear.
point.
I mean, right? Because you're absolutely right. It's like she helps him because he's just going to give up. He's like, I'll give up to the troopers. But then they're about to shoot him. So then she steps in and is like, okay, I will get involved in this now. But there's usually, maybe in poorly written Hollywood scripts, usually there's some moment where the couples just shack up. They're like, whatever, there's a killer on the loose. Let's go handle our biz in the motel. No,
Exactly. Let's make
not
a
so
baby.
much. Let's make a baby. That's how we do it. Rutger Hauer kidnaps her, and then here's the next gruesome, intense scene. He ties her up behind a semi-trailer because it's like a truck stop motel. And she's about to be basically drawn and quartered. She's going to be like on the rack, just popped. But now all the cops are there, and now we believe you, C. Thomas Howell. You have to go talk to Rutger Hauer because I guess if he takes his foot off the clutch, I'm not a truck driver. I'm not sure exactly how this works. You take your foot off the clutch.
I think when you have a clutch in a car, it's it's the thing, accelerator, clutch, car move.
Well, but
it's in gear is what they're saying.
Right. It's like if he has his foot on the gas and he releases the clutch, then it's going to go.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because they're saying we can't shoot him because if he does, he'll take his foot off the clutch and then the car will go. But won't his foot also go off the gas? I don't. This is very complicated.
Can someone just put their foot on the brake? Can they knock it out of gear? Well, the other problem I have is this would clearly be a blind spot. Don't you see at the back of all those trucks, if you can't see me, I can't see you?
Yes.
This would be a blind spot. So while he's in there jibber-jabbering with C. Thomas Howell, why aren't those mofos just cutting the string? He has no idea what's going back there. Do you think he can see behind there? No.
Absolutely.
He can't see.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Or it's just, you get in there and go right for the clutch. We're gonna shoot him when he's giving you some jibba jabba. We shoot him. You push your foot on there, or leap down and grab the clutch with your hand. Do something.
I wanted him to go up on his side and go, "What's up, bro? You
mind if I take the? I'm gonna drive.
Do you need a hug, bro?
You mad, bro?" So he gives Rutger Hauer gives C. Thomas the gun, and it's that same kind of thing. Shoot me, kill me. I want you to stop me. And when he doesn't, he's like, "You're a useless waste," and then takes his foot off the clutch and pops her like a chicken wing. Snap, snap.
That's right. Like you're twisting off a leg off a rotisserie chicken.
This was off camera. I mean, we're assuming there's a lot of twisting and snapping, but
there's a lot of sorry, dude.
Right.
Afterwards,
even the kindly paramedic, the EMT guy's like, "Hey, man, we know it wasn't your fault. You did all you could." It's like, do I even know you? Save your 2 cents for somebody who gives a damn, pal. Good times.
Yeah, basically, once he got in the car with the gun, it's like we first of all, except for old C, no one here got out alive. So she was going to die, but the question is, who else is going to die?
Well, and that's the question. When they've now arrested Rutger Hauer and are shipping him off to the penitentiary. I don't know where they're going. They're going somewhere. He's in custody, and C. Thomas is like, "Oh no, that's not going to get it done."
Oh, it's full Jason. It's full Jason.
Right. But I wrote it down. It's like, you're in the clear, aren't you? But he pulls the gun. He takes the gun from the kindly trooper, Captain Esterson or whatever his name was, and so it's like, you're a criminal now. We gave you the benefit of the doubt before, but now we know you're a criminal too. So even though at the end of the movie he shoots down old Rucker Hauer. He's going to prison now, right?
Well, I mean, I thought that same thing, but in the end, he knew the dude was escaping and was going to come for him. So you just need to follow it through.
You just got to handle your biz.
Handle your biz. After this, he's ready to become a Navy SEAL, the French Foreign Legion, whatever.
The Merchant Marine.
His hands are deadly.
His hands are
deadly. He's a CB.
He's a CB. If he goes to a bar in Alabama, he has to let 3 guys kick his ass because his hands are deadly weapons. You cannot even defend yourself.
He could fight Nick Cage from that terrible movie, Con Air.
Whoa. That terrible? You mean that damn classic Con Air?
Damn classic movie, Con Air. So technically, C. Thomas Howell could legally fight and kill Nick Cage.
I don't know if you're ever allowed to murder, but in this scenario, you would at least be allowed to defend yourself, theoretically. And if a murder occurred, then I guess that's all right.
And then the question is...
I'm not a lawyer.
Old C is not exactly throwing punches. So, in hand-to-hand combat, who in fact will win in this glorious rebellion? Cage, Howell.
Okay. Nick Cage, circa Con Air, is ripped. He is ripped. C. Thomas, at no time in his life was he ever even in shape. I mean, he's kind of skinny and scrawny. C. Thomas, you're listening, no offense.
Young Mormon missionary out
That's
for the first time.
That is correct. So in this scenario, in this Fight Club scenario where everyone's hands are deadly weapons, I think Nick Cage still wins. But who's to say?
Right.
He's wiry. C. Thomas may come back.
C. Thomas will cry before Nick Cage, I'm pretty sure.
We're pretty sure about that.
Not 100%, but
no,
pretty sure.
I'm not betting on it or anything. I'm just saying. May the odds be ever in your favor. Later in the movie, Rucker Hauer has murdered everybody on the prison transport just in time for C. Thomas to arrive. He jumps from the back of the prison bus, smashes through C. Thomas's windshield. Head first. He growls as he does it, like a lion or something. It's like, rah, as he's jumping. Don't mess with Rucker Hauer.
He will fuck you up.
Yeah,
situation. Even the Jaws from Shark is not sailing through the air head first through your windshield.
Not even the Jaws from Shark. I agree with that. Good Lord. Do you have anything else you want to share, or shall we go behind the scenes?
I literally wrote nothing. I'm like finger French fry, super villain running through the desert, blah, blah, blah. I said, ain't that a blind spot behind the truck? Those are all the notes I have.
That's a good question.
I suspect when we watch Flesh for Frankenstein, I may have more notes.
I may not. Let's go behind the scenes, shall we?
Please. Tell me of my beloved Rutger, R.I.P.
There's a lot here. Rutger Hauer did a lot of the stunt driving throughout the movie, which amazed the crew and even the real stunt drivers.
Ooh.
And he did a lot of his own physical stunts as well, including where he jumps through the windshield. He actually lost a tooth during that stunt. That's serious.
A beautiful badass.
In Rutger Hauer's book, All Those Moments, if you haven't read it, maybe.
Is it on Audible? I'll recommend it. That's my next recommendation for the family book club.
Oh, we should. We should absolutely do that. Hauer mentioned how the executive producer of this movie had settled on Sam Elliott for the role of John Ryder.
Oh.
And Hauer states that apparently Elliott was so scary when he came to audition that the producer was afraid to go out to his car afterwards.
That would probably work.
Sam Elliott is good. I'm not going to lie.
It's good. He's solid.
But Sam Elliott had a scheduling conflict.
Aww.
Other choices were Terrence Stamp as John Ryder.
Ooh, blimey, it's the limey.
Absolutely. C.
That would have been
Thomas.
good too.
It's an embarrassment of riches, really. C. Thomas admitted that he was actually afraid of Rutger Hauer on and off the set because of Hauer's general intensity.
I love it. He looks like he would be frightened of me, quite frankly.
He's a tender flower, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Well, and he was especially that scene where Rutger Hauer has the blade up next to his knife. That's real fear you see on C. Thomas Howell, because Rutger Hauer improvised that whole part with the knife placement and the lines.
He's a beautiful genius. Tell me more of Rutger Hauer.
He's a damn beautiful genius. The original script was long enough to make a 3-hour movie, which included
3-hour movie.
The weather started getting rough.
It's true. It writes itself.
And all the rest. Ryder slaughters the entire family, and you see it. Ooh. An eyeball is in the hamburger instead of a finger in the fries. There's a graphic sex scene between Nash and C. Thomas.
Yikes.
Yep. And a character being decapitated.
They were going for the NC-17.
They were. It was going to be an X-rated movie because initially C. Thomas was supposed to shoot Rutger Hauer when he was like laying on the ground in a prone position. They had to change it to have him getting up to kind of establish, he's still a threat. Therefore, it's okay for you to shoot him 6 times at point blank range with a shotgun.
Yikes.
Egads.
Egads is right.
Let's see. The screenwriter.
Although I would say that was a good scene because it's like, this mofo is unkillable.
It is. He is Jason.
Like Rasputin or something. Yeah.
He is Rasputin, for God's sakes. Writer, producer, director Christopher Nolan has listed this as one of his favorite films.
It's pretty good.
Ever. Let's see. Other people who were considered for the Rutger Hauer role. David Bowie.
No.
Sting.
No.
Sam Shepard.
I take it back. Sting has got those crazy eyes. Dune Sting.
It's got to be Dune Sting, no question.
Because David Bowie weighs about as much as C. Thomas Howell, so you got a couple of 90-pound people like fighting each other.
But what if he's like Ziggy Stardust? Would that change your answer?
I'd pay for that. I want him in full regalia hitchhiking on a rainy night.
But would you pull over for that is the question.
Fantastic.
Harry Dean Stanton was another person, another 90-pounder.
All right.
Good times.
No, Rutger Hauer is a big man. Besides being so beautiful, he is a much taller man.
A much taller man?
He's like 6'2" or something like that.
I mean, he's probably a Hollywood 5'10", in all honesty.
Shut your mouth, boy. Shut your mouth. I'm looking this up.
Look it up. Well,
keep with your rambling.
Entertainment Weekly ranked this as the 19th scariest movie of all time.
Good.
Yep, not bad. Jim Halsey.
6'1".
6'1", okay. Other people who were up for that role, or considered for that role, other than C. Thomas. Matthew Modine.
Nah.
Tom Cruise.
Nah.
Emilio Estevez.
No.
And Charlie Sheen.
No. Oh my God. Tiger Blood. Can you imagine if it was Tiger Blood, Charlie Sheen versus Rutger Hauer? That would be a pay-per-view. But really, C. Thomas Howell is probably the best out of that group.
This, like I said,
he looks like a little kid at the beginning, and by the end, he's like a ninja.
No question. This is peak C. Thomas and peak Rutger Hauer.
Yes.
At the peak of their powers. Let's talk about the cast and crew, shall we?
Didn't we just do that?
No, that was behind the scenes. Robert Harmon, who directed this. This was the first thing he ever directed. Some other things he directed are China Lake. Unfamiliar with it.
No, but China Lake is right up the north from here.
China Grove. Is that the Doobie Brothers?
China Grove.
They, which was a horror movie that came out in the early 2000s, which I thought was one of those things where it's like the monsters only can come out when it's dark. If there's light out, then you can't see them. There's a couple movies that were like that. Darkness Falls, where it's like, if there's light in the room, you're safe. But the moment there's no light, you're dead meat. Kind of like Pitch Black is another one that did that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
And he directed Nowhere to Run, which was one of the crappier Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. It was written by Eric Red, not Eric the Red.
Oh.
Who did such things as Body Parts, one of our favorites, one of my favorites. He also wrote Near Dark. That's another one.
No.
You know, don't you? That's the vampire movie directed by Catherine Bigelow that has Lance Henriksen and Bill Paxton. Came out in the late 80s.
I do like Lance Henriksen. Not so much Bill Paxton.
Bad Moon, which I guess is like a werewolf movie. Some other stuff.
Bad Moon Rising.
Bad Moon Rising. And then the cast, of course, we got Rutger Hauer playing John Ryder. No, you know him most famously, as we said, for Blade Runner, The Hitcher. He was in Sin City. He was
I didn't see that.
He was in Hobo with a Shotgun. You know, don't you?
Was that right after Blind Fury?
It might have
been. With a shotgun?
I watched Blind Fury not long ago. He was a Vietnam vet who learned the art of the samurai sword while in Vietnam.
I like Blind Fury. I like it. And at the end of his career, he did a season of True Blood.
He did. He was also in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie. He was all over the place.
He was the Fae. He was like the king of the Fae or something like that.
Oh, right. C. Thomas Howell. You know him from The Outsiders, Hitcher. He was one of the kids in E.T., not one of the main kids, just one of the other kids from the neighborhood.
Riding the bike around.
Of course, he was in Red Dawn with reuniting with Swayze, and you got oh crap, who else? Charlie Sheen is in that one. Leah Thompson, Jennifer Grey. It's an all-star cast, for God's sakes. We love C. Thomas. He's still working today.
Is he? What's he doing? Voiceovers, car commercials?
It's weird. He's like kind of a day player now. It's like you'll be watching Walking Dead and he's there for one episode, not playing a very important character.
He walks in the background. You're like, isn't that C. Thomas Howell?
Yes. In 2018 to 2021 on The Walking Dead, he played Hilltop Resident.
Hilltop Resident. Man number 2. Poor C. Thomas.
We love you, C. Thomas. Jennifer Jason Leigh, you know her from The Hateful Eight more recently. Single White Female, Dolores
which is
Claiborne.
Good. Oh yeah,
she was in Fast Times at Richmond High. She was. If you go watch Fast Times, if you haven't watched it lately, it's kind of upsetting, especially as like I'm an adult person with children. She is literally a freshman. Sexually active, has to get an abortion. Good Lord. It's not all fun and games at Fast Times at Richmond High.
It's not all Jeff Spicoli. It's not. There's a lot of crazy, weird trauma. And then what's her face? Then she met the love of her life, Kevin Kline, who is older than her father.
Oh, you're talking about that's not Jennifer. That's Phoebe Cates. Phoebe Cates they've been married for like 30 years. I ain't gonna judge them. They're doing their thing.
How can they be married for 30 years? What is he, like 85 now?
Yes.
How old is Kevin Kline now?
Oh, sweet gee. We're going off this rabbit hole. Let me see. Now I have to look all this stuff up. So let's see. Fast Times, based on the book by Cameron Crowe. It is a good movie. I love Fast Times. I'm not trying to say I'm not, but it's not all.
I liked parts of it. I don't need Judge Reinhardt masturbating and
there's no actor named Judge Reinhardt. First of all, is part of the problem. Okay. Oh, sweet Jesus. Here we go. Phoebe Cates. She was born in 1963. So you can do the math. I'm not going to. She's been married to Kevin Kline since 1989. He was born in 47.
Yeah.
So there you go.
He's older than our father.
47. So he is 16 years older than she is.
I guess it's not so much.
That's not outrageous.
When they first got married, the older you get, the gap doesn't seem as important, but she was a baby when he snapped her up.
This isn't Jerry Lee Lewis or something marrying his 12-year-old cousin or something, okay? She was an adult.
It's true.
If you're listening, Kevin Kline, big fans.
Yeah, we do. I loved him in the Pirates of Penzance.
He's great, Kevin Kline. Anywho, shall we talk about the rating? We go off on so many bird walks in this episode. Sweet Lord. The Hitcher.
Because there's not so much to complain about.
No, it's dynamite.
Because, it's not really that goofable because it's pretty solid.
It is so solid that it currently has, are you ready for this?
Boom.
62% fresh.
What?
62% fresh. The audience only gave it 74%.
I don't understand the words you're saying, Kevin, because they don't make sense to me.
It's like I'm speaking gibberish because it makes no sense at all.
Gibberish. Is it because there's no plot? Is that what's the trouble? It's just a shark attack?
Some would argue that's a problem. No, this movie is dynamite. It's an acquired taste. I mean, Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel on At the Movies, both gave it thumbs down. Roger Ebert, here's his review, 0 out of 4.
0 out of 4? Roger Ebert gives everything a 3 out of 4.
As do we. Not in this case. I would have admired it more if it had found the courage to acknowledge the real relationship it was portraying between Hal and Rutger. But no.
What is the real relationship?
I don't know what he's implying. It prefers to disguise itself as a violent thriller, and on that level, it is reprehensible.
So what are they saying? That it's some kind of homoerotic thriller?
I mean, I guess. I mean, how should the movie have gone down for Roger Ebert? Is it just two lonely men meet along the side of the road and explore their forbidden passion?
Hauer, Eileen Wuornos? What's happening? How can you say that and not explain that?
I mean, maybe he said it in his full review, but it's just it's just a paragraph here. Janet Maslin of the New York Times says, Mr. Hauer, who has reportedly vowed not to play any more villains or crackpots, is probably making the right decision if this is any measure of the sort of role that comes his way.
Oh,
damn.
Dear.
Damn.
Record scratch.
It's literally like Otis Day and the Knights in Animal House, where the record scratch, we all turn around like, what was that? Very upsetting. What is your rating, Aaron?
I am going to give it 4 out of 5 C. Thomas Howell eyeballs on a very decorative toothpick in my martini.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm going even further than that. I'm going 5 out of 5. Woo! Twisted, Jennifer Jason Leigh popped like a chicken wings. There you go. Dynamite. This is a bona fide classic. It is dynamite. I don't know.
It gets a heart racing from Boom.
Hell yes, it does. And it doesn't, we've described this gruesome movie. They really don't show anything.
It's all off camera. It's almost all off camera. But it's still, you're tense from the moment. It's like that movie Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler, where, well, you're not quite as twisted up as that. That was a very intense movie. But it's like bang from the beginning, and it just doesn't let you go to the end.
Bang, bang, bang. Yeah. It is dynamite. If you have not seen this, rush out. Now, here's the thing. When I was looking for this movie, there was a remake that came out, 15 years ago.
Oh, Lord.
Starring Sean Bean from Game of Thrones.
I love Sean Bean.
There you go.
Sharp's Army. He's the king of all British things. Go ahead.
The funny thing about Sean Bean is it's kind of a joke because whatever movie he's in or TV show he's in, he dies.
Yes.
That's the rule. Yes. If he's in it, he will eventually die.
I love him, though.
He's great. He's great. I'm not seeing this remake, though. Not doing it.
Who played the C. Thomas Howell?
I don't know. Not C. Thomas. That's all I need to
C.
know.
Thomas.
Not C.
Maybe
Thomas.
son of C. Thomas. Because quite frankly, Sean Bean is probably as old as Rutger Hauer.
No question. Now there was a sequel to that movie that starred C. Thomas Howell. I'm assuming as the Rutger Hauer role. I have no idea. It could be anything under the sun.
He becomes Rutger Hauer?
I'm guessing. You know what? I'm going to take a minute and look it up. I wasn't going to, but now I feel I have to. The Hitcher.
Zachary Knighton?
You know him, don't you?
I don't know who the hell that is.
The Hitcher 2, I've Been Waiting, 2003, straight to video.
Oh, he was on Happy Endings, if you ever saw that.
Oh, okay, here you go. Jack, I don't know who that is, played by Jake Busey. And Kari Wurr, from such movies as Anaconda, plays Maggie. And C. Thomas Howell revisits his immortal role as Jim Halsey. He's back.
Oh,
so there you go.
Lord.
I guess Jake Busey is the scary character nowadays, which is true. So there you have it. Thank you very much. Go to our page on Twitter at TPodcastTWDie. Go to our page on Facebook at The Podcast That Wouldn't Die. Aaron, we're on Instagram.
We are on the Insta. We are The Podcast That Wouldn't Die.
You can email us, The Podcast That Wouldn't Die, at Gmail. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the finer podcasts are available. So don't forget to like, share, rate, and review, for goodness sake.
In the name of all that is holy.
Sweet Jesus. The power of Christ compels you.
100%.
Aaron, you are also on social media. What's the word?
I have so much media. I'm on the Insta. I am the Cult of Aaron. Join the cult. I am Don't Feed the Pigeon. Buy fine art from me on Artsy and First Dibs and who knows where else.
And who knows where else. So thank you very much and be well.
Later, skaters.